I can't trust anyone anymore. Right now, I'm undeniably at the lowest point in my life. So this is what rock bottom tastes like, I've just realized. As I write about today's events in my diary, I'm taking a moment to calm down and organize my thoughts. I was eating dinner at home with my daughter. And then, as usual, my husband came home from work. I heard the front door open and stood up to reheat the stew. Then, behind my husband walking into the living room, for some reason, was my sister, holding a huge suitcase in her hand. And after saying "I'm home," the next words out of his mouth were, "I'm divorcing you and remarrying your sister." What do you think about that? I'm Maria, in my late 30s, a full-time employee. My husband, in his 40s, also a full-time employee with a managerial position. Our daughter, 16, a high school student. My sister, in her late 20s, her occupation is a mystery. There's quite an age gap between my sister and me, we're not close at all, and the last time we met was on New Year's Day. So, the very notion of my sister being here is bizarre to begin with. Before I could even ask my sister why she was here, I'm frozen by my husband's statement. My daughter and I are stunned into silence by the sudden words of divorce and remarriage. The smell of the stew burning brings me back to reality, and I quickly turn off the stove, but I'm still frozen. Then there's my sister, saying, "I'm marrying your husband, so you and your daughter need to leave this house ASAP." Honestly, I had briefly suspected my husband might be cheating. Lately, he had been working late a lot, and he started going out more for his hobbies. I even noticed he was dressing better. But I never expected this kind of bombshell. This is what being speechless is like, I keep thinking, but I can't find the words to say anything. To have two such lowlifes in my family, what did I do in my past life, I wonder? In the living room, these two standing triumphantly, continue with, "I've always wondered why he married you, but it turns out it was our destiny to be together. I should have left you sooner. The divorce papers are ready, so sign them, take your daughter, and get out of here right away. Take your daughter and go. Why are you acting like it's none of your business?" I finally find some words deep in my throat. Hold on, think about this. I'm still in my 20s, right? It would be ridiculous if I had a high school-aged daughter. My daughter, face red with anger, is glaring at my sister. Despite this, my husband doesn't defend our daughter but says, "Well, sorry, but we're going to have our own kids. It would be too sad for you if I took our daughter, too, so I'll leave her with you. She's in high school now, she doesn't need a father, right? Let's just live our lives as we please, abandoning our daughter right in front of her." Handed the already signed divorce papers, rushed by the two of them, we were forced out of our home. For now, we've taken refuge at my parents' house, but my daughter is so shocked she won't speak, and although I want to cry, no tears come. We'll be able to stay at my parents' for a while, but what do I do now? I'm still a bit panicked, shaking as I write this. No, what am I supposed to do, other than get alimony and child support and go through with the divorce? Do these two even know they're supposed to pay alimony and child support? Even if they don't know, it's up to me to take action. Let's put a lid on these sad and painful feelings for now. Tomorrow, I'll start taking action right away. I need to have a proper talk with my daughter. The age difference between me and my sister is 10 years. My sister was spoiled rotten by my parents, a picture-perfect example of selfishness. I admit, I pampered her too when she was little. Our dad passed away early, and my sister lived at home with our mom. According to mom, she had a job and income but was constantly decked out in new designer gear, her closet overflowing with brand new clothes. When asked about her seemingly suspicious job, she'd just say, "It's a regular job," without giving any details. Yet, she wouldn't contribute to the household expenses, and would sometimes even pester our mother for money. My mom was really struggling. "But I guess I raised her this way," she'd say, with a distant look in her eyes. Today, mom was dumbfounded when, after my sister hastily packed her bags and left, I got home and spilled her guts. But why did she go after my husband, her sister's husband? Was there any connection between my sister and my husband? I don't know. It's not like we were close, we hardly ever met or communicated. And honestly, I couldn't care less now. Thinking this far, I decided to have one more talk before my daughter went to sleep, and then I closed my journal. Time passed, and 3 months later, here I am. My sister ran off with my husband, but now he's my ex-husband as we've divorced. And they actually got remarried. I've been trying to remember everything step by step up to the present. The day after the shocking divorce declaration. I woke up not knowing if it was reality or a dream, just staring blankly. My daughter still had a gloomy expression as she went to school. I kept messing up at work. Trying to hide my tears was a struggle. But when I got home, my daughter ran up to me, her gloomy morning face replaced by a bright smile, which took me by surprise. When I asked what happened, she said, "Mom, hurry up and divorce him. Seriously, it's for the best," while laughing. I was taken aback, but my daughter continued to speak. After hearing everything she said, I too regained a full smile, and we happily proceeded with the divorce. I had been feeling like I was carrying a huge boulder on my back every day, but at that moment, it felt like I had wings, light and exhilarating. I quickly called my ex-husband to settle everything, to discuss alimony and child support. Then, he easily agreed to pay both alimony and child support. But he said one thing too many. "It's a small price to pay to get rid of you and marry your cute little sister," he said. I managed to keep my cool despite the surge of anger and insisted on going to the notary office together to make it official. I got $20,000 from my husband for alimony and agreed on child support until our daughter turns 20. I went to collect the remaining belongings from the house while they were away, left the keys, and that was the end. They were probably a bit puzzled by how quickly I was moving forward with the divorce. They were living in their own little fantasy world, not understanding what was going on, but it was probably convenient for them, so I just let them be. Because after hearing a certain thing from my daughter, I knew their happiness wouldn't last long. Not even a month after the divorce, I got a call from my ex-husband. I answered as if I had been waiting for his call. The conversation went like this. "Your sister is the worst. Doesn't do any housework. Has a terrible spending habit. And despite being jobless, our house is filled with designer goods. She uses up the household money I give her in a single day and keeps asking for more. Her monthly beauty expenses are insane. And there are multiple men in her life. I've been demanded alimony by one of their wives. There's a detective and that wife lurking around our house daily. Your sister is crazy. He complained about my sister. Why are you telling me this? She's your wife, right? Young and pretty, right? You chose this path, so you should support her," I said. Then my ex-husband freaked out. "No. I'll go bankrupt if I stay with her. I'm already in debt because of your sister." "Oh, abandoning your family for a younger woman costs that much, huh? Why didn't you warn me? You sisters are the worst." Ugh. The nerve of someone who cheated and left his family, right? He continued to lash out at me, begging for a reconciliation and return. "Kick out your sister and let's start over with you and our daughter. It's not too late. Cut ties with your sister and let's be happy, just the three of us." Oh, what you're saying is all over the place. His incoherence is actually amusing, so I turned on the speakerphone and spilled everything to my daughter. Then, she comes closer to the phone and says, "Just to confirm, you abandoned me, right? Guess a high schooler doesn't need a dad anymore, huh? Seriously, I can do without a father like you. Let's live our lives however we want. Who would come back to this trash? Never call us again." With my daughter's gusto, the call was forcibly ended. Really, my daughter is too awesome for words, brought tears to my eyes. Here, let me spill one of my daughter's pre-divorce comments. She said that since my sister is living off rich daddies by engaging in what's known as sugar dating and receiving money and gifts, she probably thinks of her husband as nothing more than an ATM. And how does she know this? Turns out, she saw her aunt's Instagram account. It's filled with nothing but branded goods, gourmet meals from high-end restaurants, the sugar daddy's luxury car, photos at fancy hotels. Literally, that's all there is. She's hunting for daddies with pictures where she's heavily photoshopped to the point of being unrecognizable, isn't she? She speculated. What impressed me here was about the infidelity compensation my ex-husband mentioned earlier. Turns out, my daughter had been working behind the scenes on this too. She found a man frequently interacting with her aunt's account, who seemed to be a daddy, identified his wife from his account, and secretly reported the affair to the sugar daddy's wife. There were overly suggestive comments left by the daddy in her aunt's comments section, which gave her the idea. Man, social media is truly frightening, isn't it? The prowess of my Generation Z daughter in leveraging social media is incredible. And she doesn't attack directly but lets third and fourth parties do the attacking, a real master strategist, good job. Soon after, my ex-husband's attempts to contact us were blocked, and my daughter and I have been living a carefree life back home in Nebraska. But then, a month later, something happened. My sister finally broke down. No, she self-destructed. It was the feared assault by my sister. She showed up at our family home for the first time since she packed her bags and left, carrying a suitcase. In front of the locked front door, we, my daughter, my mother, and I, immediately knew who it was from the shrieking noise early on a Sunday morning. We wanted to ignore her, but she was so loud that my mother attempted to make contact by opening the front door just 4 inches. My sister immediately reached her arm through the gap, grabbed the door, and tried to force her way in, so the 3 of us had to desperately keep her out. Then, a deathly scream rang throughout the neighborhood, "I'm out of money. Mom, help me. You have no money coming from us. Don't come here." Despite my mother's desperate resistance, my sister displayed superhuman strength typical of desperate situations and stepped into the entrance. She was not the sister I knew before. Her spirit seemed gone, and she looked significantly older. Why she turned out this way, she herself started to explain. "This is the worst. Unpaid taxes. Suddenly got audited. Totally unbelievable." My daughter and I struggled to keep from laughing. As if the affair getting exposed wasn't enough. Compensatory damages of $30,000. And I have a debt of $20,000 to boot. "You could pay that off if you sold all your branded stuff," my mom retorted coldly. "Selling them won't amount to much. It's your fault, my sis, you should give me the money." My sister raised her voice threateningly. Here she goes again, taking her anger out on me. "Excuse me? Talk to your own husband about that. That guy is absolutely useless. Before we got married, he bought me everything, but the moment we tied the knot, he turned into a complete miser. Kicked out of the house and everything. What am I supposed to do now?" Amidst the chaos, my daughter, who had been silently observing, approached her wild aunt gently and said, "Why come here? You're into sugar dating, right? Just go to one of your daddies. If you spread your legs and cry, 'Daddy, help me,' he'll surely set you up with a place." My daughter was using such crude language to tease her aunt. "It was you, wasn't it? I'm sure of it. You spilled the beans." My sister's face turned beet red, and she lunged at my daughter, so I slapped her hard. Smack. "Ow wow. Keep your hands off my daughter, you prostitute." "What's that?" My sister's mouth gapes open as her eyes fill with tears. Oh, this is too good. Then, my daughter goes in for the kill. "Was it me who spilled the beans?" Without any proof, don't just assume things, though, actually, yes, it was me. Because paying taxes is a civic duty, right? Just gave the IRS a little heads up about someone not paying. Never thought they'd bother with a small fry tax evader like you, but they're surprisingly on the ball, huh? I never knew my daughter could be this articulate. My sister stands there, stunned and disbelieving. But my daughter isn't done yet. "Must be tough, pandering to old men for money. But you're almost hitting 30. Thought I'd let you know, that can't last forever. Maybe take this as a good chance to retire. This brat. My sister starts to lose it, and that's when the police sirens wail, stopping right outside our home. The front door bursts open, and my sister is swiftly apprehended by several officers. Is this the person? Yes. Evading taxes, having an affair, demanding money and causing a scene, please, just take her away. Hey. What is this? Let go. This is my parents' house. The officer pauses, a look of aha flashing across his face. Then my mother delivers the final blow. I don't recall ever having a daughter like you. Don't ever come back. And with that, my sister is carted off to the station. Turns out, my daughter had already contacted them when my sister first showed up. Soon after, we moved with my mom, not even giving my sister our new address, and now we live peacefully, just the three of us. After my sister was taken away, the cops called my mother, but she just said, talk to her husband. I'm not her mother anymore, and hung up. I realized then just how much resentment my mother must have held. All this happened over the last 3 months. Just like my daughter said, my sister is almost 30, too old to be living off sugar daddies. If she's out of money, she should just get a normal job. That's just common sense, which my high schooler daughter had to teach her. We're grateful to our ex-husband. Thanks for taking away the fool from our family line. Please, take full responsibility and care for her until the end.